The following video is brought to you through the generous support of viewers like you. If you like this content, then please consider subscribing, liking, and sharing this video. And for those who are in the position to donate, this channel thanks you. And so does this orange cat.
Oh, he's absolutely right, but in ways people might not expect. I am Mecca, and bookmark this channel. YouTube will not tell you about the content. I gotta talk about this article here. So this is a Today article. Bill Burr criticizes the hysteria around Gina Carano's firing from The Mandalorian.
You're fired.
You're right. Nobody should have made any big deal about it at all. You're right, not anybody. Whether he's speaking from a stand-up stage, the Saturday Night Live studio, or the press, Bill Burr isn't afraid to sound off with an unpopular opinion or two. In a new interview with Hollywood Reporter, the 53-year-old comedian addressed his former Mandalorian co-star Gina Carano's public firing at Disney+. However, actually, here's what happened. They did not renew her contract, and somebody said, and a lot of people jumped and ran with it, and then it turned into this giant controversy because the Twitterati and the bots were coming after her. Thought it was funny that liberals proved her point, Burr says, adding he identifies as liberal himself. It's disappointing to see the left become how the right used to be when they went after the Dixie Chicks, after they criticized Bush. There's not a lot of people like that. Most are trying not to get in trouble, but there's a small collection of lunatics, either on the right or left, at any given moment that cause hysteria. Yes, there are. And now there's so many media outlets that want eyeballs. They make money off of advertising that give attention to these crazy fringe people. You're absolutely right. Burr's Mandalorian character, the mercenary Miggs Mayfield, appeared in opposite Gina Carano's rough and tumble brawler Cara Dune in the penultimate episode of season 2. I didn't like that. Well, actually, I didn't watch season 2. I watched season 1. I didn't like season 1. She was an absolute sweetheart, super nice effing person, the comedian remembered. At the time, is widely rumored that Cara Dune would anchor a new Star Wars series, based on positive fan response to her character and her performance. But the actress's social media habits were actually... probably. Now, here's where we go a little tinfoily. And you guys know that I am nothing without my tinfoil.
When real conspiracies become far too outlandish, that's when parody conspiracies look even more like reality. It's time to strap on your headgear and search through the aluminum archives.
Hear me out. What if her firing had nothing to do with anything? They just didn't want to keep paying her. They wanted to go a different direction. They didn't want to produce a series about the Rangers of the New Republic because it might be a little bit too expensive, and they already know that they can't really market kind of new characters. So they were trying to, in the middle of season 1, around episode 4, they were writing these fake hit pieces. They were running with troll accounts. CBR did basically a lie article saying that people were trying to cancel her for being istophobes. So they realized that when all the people who normally hate every woman on the internet decided to rally behind her, then they started painting her as, oh, well, she's just a right wing, and we can use these bots to go after her for that, because that's a lot of what they do. They're doing the same thing with Elon Musk with Twitter. They do it anytime these corporations. They're doing it with J.K. Rowling. They hire, and I think that these are companies that have public interest against whatever these actors or executives or studio people or authors are going to possibly profit on. Let's say you're J.K. Rowling and you want to devalue the price of Harry Potter so you can force her out, do a hostile takeover of her or something. Or let's say you're a billionaire, an eccentric billionaire trying to buy out Twitter. What are you going to do? Well, you're going to use whatever you have to create the public illusion that something is worse about this person than it actually is. And they were trying to do it before. They were trying to do it in episode 4 of season 1 of The Mandalorian by trying to paint Cara Dune as, oh, well, all these istophobes hate her and all this. Is it because she cost too much money? Was she too high profile being an MMA fighter? Did she receive a higher paycheck than they want to pay her? Knowing how much a lot of this Disney stuff is really shady, in my opinion. Knowing how these things go, you would think that for somebody who is hired on as a guest star, they would have to come in and negotiate some ginormous contract to bring her in. And if they devalued her star a little by saying, oh, well, all the istophobe fans hate her in season 1, and then they realize, oh, she's a conservative. Oh, well, we can just throw all of those bots at her and devalue her for that. Is it because she would have been paid too much? Rob, what do you think? Do you think she would have been paid too much money? This is where I need a second opinion here. I'm going a little woo. I'm going a little tinfoil-y here. My camera doesn't agree with me. I think that they were trying to devalue Gina Carano's star power and her price tag as early as season 1 because they knew people like Cara Dune and they were not happy about it. They weren't happy about it because Jon Favreau was the only one who approved her being hired in the first place. Kathleen Kennedy didn't want her, and what you can assign and assume political affiliation as one of the reasons. It might be, or it might be something as simple as she's an MMA fighter. She already commands a higher price tag. She's been in big budget blockbuster movies like Deadpool. She's been in she was in a Fast and Furious movie. She's a big name star at this point because she's had her MMA career. She comes from all this. She's not going to accept scale for something, so they had to devalue her star power long before any negotiations would have even happened. And they probably didn't want to do it once people started saying, oh yeah, bring her in for the Legends of the New Rangers show. I think they were trying to devalue her. They're trying to do that with Elon Musk, in my opinion. They've tried to do that with J.K. Rowling, in my opinion. Pretty much anything that they try and stir things up for.
Not unreasonable.
This is the same theory where people have been telling me, hey, do you think they're trying to devalue Star Trek so somebody can go in and buy it cheaper? You never know at this point with these people because it's usually something about money. It's rarely the Rube Goldberg, jumping through 27 hoops to get to and because the social justice warriors and George Soros and the wokes and the this and the this and the this, it's rarely the 27 steps that it takes. It's usually it's Occam's razor. It's usually the simplest solution that's right in front of you. So what if that's the case with this? That's what I'm wondering. Speaking with Hollywood Reporter now, Burr says he felt restrained for publicly defending Carano at the time of her firing. You can't chime in when the shit's happening because you cause static for the other people on the show. That's somebody's opinion or their political beliefs. Makes people try and destroy their ability to make a living. It's effing bizarre to me. And there you go right there. Destroy their ability to make a living. Here's what it really feels like. This is a lot about money. There's a lot about money. I mean, there's a reason why anybody who might be a little bit more jealous that the money's going somewhere else does something to, I don't know, sabotage somebody who I don't know, I'm reaching. But around the time I started taking off higher than some of my peers was around the time I started getting attacks and getting noticed too. So who knows at this point? Who knows? And I love the idea that somebody can go back 8 years in somebody's Twitter feed and be like, what about this? Meanwhile, there are people who get paroled from prison every day who has done so much worse, and they're allowed to put their lives back together. You can have 20-year wars. You can create synthetic heroin, and you can effing poison the food supply. You can do all that, and it's barely going to read. I can tell you 5 different topics that if I did jokes about, I would get in more trouble than the people who caused it. He's not wrong. Certainly, Bill Burr got in some hot water for his blistering 2020 SNL monologue where he joked about cancel culture and the Karen phenomenon. How did you manage to be a sexist, racist, and an istophobe in under 5 minutes? Marvel one Twitter critic. Yeah, you're canceled. Oh, Diener. A 30 follower account. You're listening to a 30 follower account from 2020. I did a video on that. I said exactly what I was thinking, the comedian remarks. Adding, he told the Disney version of the joke to appease NBC. You can't take one instance or one quote and say, that's who you are. Bill observed this in his interview. It took me 50 years to figure out who I am, and I've been with me for 50 effing years. How are you going to figure out who I am in a joke? Well, because they're smarter than you. Because they're the Twitterati, and they know what happens and what goes. They know, and they can't be crossed because their whole 30 followers on Twitter, make them the be-all, end-all of everything. It's the be-all, end-all of everything. And then they retweet it. Oh, they even copied it. So that's what's going on with Gina Carano. I might clip that or something. We don't know. Any other topics going on now that I got you guys here? They promoted right-thinking checkboxes who have now used it to jobs they're totally unqualified for, right? I mean, that's why I'm not sitting around talking about, comic books and stuff. You think the right doesn't diversity hire too? Yeah, and then when people point out, well, I know way more about celebrities than Star Trek. No, you got to talk about comic books and why? No, I don't want to. So that's what's going on there. I am Mecca, and I am going back to my live chat. Don't you go anywhere. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button, and if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye.
You're fired. You're unfired. I need you. Come here.